I used to blog quite a bit back when blogging was a thing. It was cathartic for me. It was sort of a way for me to find a voice and talk about things that were important to me. But a few months ago, I turned my blog off. In fact, the last post I made was a little over 2 years ago. And this past weekend, I decided it was time to turn it back on and get back to work. In the 21st century, I suppose that this series of conversations I'm doing on YouTube is the new blogging platform. And, I'm averaging about 15 views per conversation, and that's really more views than my blog ever got. So, I don't know. Maybe it's not worthwhile setting it back up again. But for me, writing is more important than talking. It's easier. As I mentioned, the last blog post I put together was a little over 2 years ago, but I went back and reread it as I opened my blog back up for people to see and realized that it could have been written today. It's really all about the disconnect that teachers face between what we're expected to do, what we're observed and evaluated on doing, compared to what kids need. I'll let you go read it for yourself. I'll put a link in the description. I guess one of my takeaways from going back and reading that blog post is that a lot of things have changed in the way education is being run right now. We're all wearing masks. We're concerned about social distancing. We're concerned about the number of kids in our classrooms. We are integrating technology more than ever before. Remains to be seen how successful that is. But the core elements of what kids need has not changed. And it will probably never change. The things we really need to concern ourselves with, more than whether Teams is acting up or whether it's, crashing on us every 10 seconds. 3 things at least that we need to look at where our kids are concerned, whether we're in the classroom or whether we're online or whether it's a hybrid. And one of those is connection. Kids need connection. We are social beings. They have to learn to connect to you, and they have to learn to connect to one another. And in the lessons that we provide, we need to be able to give them that opportunity of connecting. They also need engagement. Engagement with the lesson you're teaching, engagement with one another, engagement with you. If they are not engaged, they're checking out. And to do that, we have to be really cognizant of the kinds of activities that we are giving kids in the classroom or online. And the other thing is relevance. The lesson, the topic, the concerns all have to be relevant to their lives, and the relevance in their lives are not the same thing as the relevance in our lives. And those 3 things are the things we need to concentrate on, along with everything else we do. These are the 3 things that matter. In that blog post, I talked about the making of one of the iconic songs of the Beatles, A Day in the Life, and how John Lennon wanted a cacophony of orchestral music played for 24 bars. They called in 9 musicians, I believe it was, and they gave them a task. And that task was, here's your starting note, and 24 bars later, here's your ending note. And whatever you do in between there is totally up to you. The musician said, we can't do this. We were taught to follow the music. And so, as a result, 7 of them decided they would just walk out. They were not going to do it. But two musicians stood up and said, hey, we've played with this group before. We trust them. We trust George Martin. Let's give it a try, even though it was totally uncomfortable and totally outside their wheelhouse. Now, we've got teachers all across the country who have tried this for a week or two, this thing of masks and social distancing and operating in Teams and Google Classroom and, Hangouts and Zoom and whatever else they're doing across the district, and they have decided we can't do this. This is not for us. And what they need are some people to stand by them saying, hang in there. Just hang in there. Grit your teeth. Set your jaw. Hang in there, because you can do this. We are not just teaching kids anymore. We're not just teaching our content anymore. We are in the process of making history. And you've got this. We've got this. Together, we'll make it happen.